Well, here we are. This hangar's empty now. It's going to be that way for quite a while, but not forever. Just a couple of months, and we're going to have our beautiful Gulf Romeo Mike Foxtrot come back to us stronger and more powerful than ever. Previously. Hello there. So it's Simon Cardinal again. Well, here we are. So, we're going to be talking about this beautiful 1976 Alpha Alpha 5 Alpha Grumman Cheetah, call sign Gulf Romeo Mike Foxtrot, or as we like to call her, Grumph. Or if you're part of the group, you're one of the Grumpers. Most of the guys like it. There's a couple of naysayers in there, but I'll break them down yet. But here's the thing. What are we doing today? We are going to talk about all the work that's going to happen to this amazing airplane. That this aircraft, she's about to go away. She's going to get a whole bunch of new stuff, which we'll need to talk about ahead of time, so that when this airplane comes back in 2 months, you're not even going to recognize her. Well, you'll recognize her because the paint won't have changed too much, but everything else, many changes. And we are very excited here at Cheetah with Wings because what we are going to be adding to this aircraft, the changes, the updates, it's going to fundamentally change how the pilots will fly this aircraft. And more importantly, what we can do with this airplane to make sure that we are safe, our guests are safe, and that this airplane keeps taking us on the trips that we've learned to love, especially at a slick 6 to 7 miles per gallon fuel burn rate. Oh, gorgeous. What an amazing airplane. Love it. But for now, let's talk about some of the changes that are going to happen. So one of the first things we're going to talk about today, and one of the major changes to this aircraft, will be the engine overhaul. And when I say engine overhaul, anyone who's watching this and owns an airplane or knows anything about general aviation knows that when we put those two words together, what we're really saying is, here's a whole pile of money, engine overhaul company. Have a good time with that, because it's never ever cheap. That's just the way it goes. The good news is that we've been maintaining this aircraft to a pretty high standard, and I don't want to brag, but I'm in charge of the maintenance. So while we've had some challenges over this past year, and we'll be talking about that in another episode, it's time. Grumph, she needs a rest. She's worked very well for us. She's worked very hard, but the engine, she's tired. Not dangerous, just tired. And we decided to get ahead of this and get this engine sent out into a scheduled maintenance plan, ensuring that this will get the engine back to us as quickly as possible. All of us in Cheetah with Wings can get flying this beautiful airplane. But enough about that. Let's get to this. So what do we have here? We have a Lycoming 0320 engine. This is one of the most produced engines in the history of general aviation. And one of the things every time we do our walk around that I'm always amazed by is the amount of wires that goes everywhere for something that really is quite simple. But also the part that still continues to blow my mind away even to this day is that everyone's lives are dependent on that one plastic belt. Engine spins around, crankshaft does this thing, moves this propeller, spins it around, and we're on our way. That's not spooky or creepy at all. And it actually shouldn't be. It's one of the things that gets a lot of people concerned, but the fact is, the airplane is safe, and as long as the pilots maintain everything, we're in good shape. And as you can see, there have been a lot of changes. We'll note that the magneto here and here, these are new. We change the oil every 50 hours. The battery, which is inside this case here, has been recently changed. All of these blue cables, those are all brand spanking new. These arms here to keep the canopy, the bonnet covers up, that's brand spanking new. We have a new alternator, and we have a new starter, all kinds of magneto points and everything like that. So, but as you can see, even these dark areas right here, this airplane, she's been working hard for us. So we replaced this arm as well. She's a good, solid aircraft, but she needs a rest. So we're gonna take her down. We're gonna let her have a rest. But that's it for the engine. Wait till we see this when we come back. We have another story about that. For now, let's go talk about all the other bits and pieces that we're going to be working with. And at the workbench, we'll see a list of stuff, but we're not seeing all of it because we just ordered more of the parts. But let's start at the beginning. Grumph has a pretty decent communication panel in there. We'll talk about that once we get inside the aircraft. It can be more comprehensive, and there are certainly ways to make this a lot more, I don't want to say safe, but just guarantees some more peace of mind. And how are we going to do that? Well, the first thing is we're going to install this GMA 340 Garmin audio panel. Big shout out to #Garmin. Thanks for these parts. We paid for them. Actually, not really thanks too much, Garmin. And also, we're going to be adding this Garmin GTR 205 comm radio, which will allow us to actually have 2 radios with 4 channels. And in general aviation, the advantage of that is that it allows us to monitor and listen to one channel while transmitting on another. Now, if you're wondering, wow, that can get pretty intimidating. Yeah, it sure can. And I promise you, more than one time, what we will see or what we will hear is pilots talking on one channel thinking they're transmitting on the other. And that'll be kind of fun.
You nailed that, Chris Stapleton, just saying.
We'll be adding this intercom system here for the passengers in the back, because the one that's in there is very, very old. We will also be integrating the panel system for the intercom, for the plugins for the headphones. We'll talk about that afterwards. We'll also be putting inside these new to us yokes, which are going to be beautifully cleaned up for us. We'll be adding in push to talk buttons directly into both of the yokes for the pilot and the co-pilot. That's going to be just amazing. You'll see this one of the buttons here. We need to order another one. And then we'll be adding in some other items. The magneto, right now, our magneto switch is a key, but we're actually going to be switching to these cool looking flick buttons right here. And why are we doing that? Honestly, it's just cool. Just because we can, and it's much easier for us to know if we're on the left mag or the right mag when we're doing the switching. It's kind of neat. And also, because I'm a bit of a space nerd, and especially the Apollo, Gemini, Mercury missions, we have these guards that we'll be putting up between the switches. I'll show a panel on the panel later on exactly what I'm talking about, just to give the aircraft a bit of a cool, fun retro vibe. But the other thing we'll be doing is we're also adding some of the electronics, some other changes, and one of those bits and pieces will be the lighting. Right now the aircraft has some other LEDs. When we do an actual walk around with the airframe, we'll discuss that. But these are true LED/strobe lighting systems. These are for the navigation. Again, hashtag out to Aero LED. Thanks so much. These are going to be amazing. And this white tail beacon here will be put up at the top, also as a strobe light. So basically, what's going to happen is this airplane will be seen by the International Space Station, and I wouldn't have it any other way. In general aviation, you cannot be seen too much. And also, we'll be adding these Stratus Apero USB-A, USB-C plugins. Right here you see two, but get this, we're not getting just one. No. We're not getting just two. No. We're going to put in a third one. Dun, 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 dun. Nice. Now, those are not the only parts that we have. In fact, we've ordered some more items because every time we turn around, we realize there's other things we need to do. We've ordered a Tannis block heater kit to make things much easier in the winters. We've ordered that third Apero Stratus point to go for the passengers. We've ordered some stuff to fix the pilot's seat. We've ordered some other bits and pieces inside there to figure out exactly what we're going to do. We'll be putting in a master switch so that there's one switch to rule them all. And because right now, as you'll see later, the pilots have to flick a switch and then flick a switch and then flick a switch to get everything turned on. It can get confusing. And in the spirit of pilot crew management, one switch to turn everything on, that's the way to go. What else are we doing? So we talked about the engine, that beautiful, very expensive engine. But the cool thing about the engine is once it's done, then it's done. It will probably last us 7 to 10 years, considering the amount of people that fly this aircraft. And we get a brand spanking new engine. And one of the things we're getting done to this engine is an STC, which is just a fancy way of saying a modification. And it's going to give us another 10 miles per hour in the takeoff, another 15 miles per hour in the cruise, and it's not going to burn any extra gas. That, my friends, that's how you fly an airplane. Well, one of the things we're going to be doing is the annual inspection, which happens every year. Normally, for us, it happens in August. But the problem is, in August, everyone wants to fly the plane. So what we're doing is we're just going to redo this inspection in January. And why in January? Well, we are in Canada, and we're not in British Columbia like a lot of lucky folks. We live in Ottawa, Ontario. And in January, most often the weather sucks. We get a lot of rain, get a lot of freezing rain, not a lot of flying. I really hope the weather holds out. We're kind of in a weird window. We'll see how that works. So it just makes sense to put our beautiful girl down for that time and do the things we got to do. I'll figure this out. Bear with me. We're still new to this. First of all, the aircraft will be getting a general once-over. In the markings here where we have to walk, we'll get that updated, make sure it's nice and clean. We'll give her a good wash down. This step right here, can't really tell because of the angle if you look at it, but this is broken right at the crack right in here. So we're getting that replaced, this whole assembly. The aircraft, when it's in there, will probably get some general paint touch-ups done. This dorsal assembly here, this fairing, this is going to be replaced, partly because of this crack and it's just not sitting properly. All the tabs on the inside are not connected. So we ordered a new one, and that'll make things a lot easier for us. So that'll be good. A big one for us is that there will be a structural repair happening from right about here, right where the static pitot tube is, all the way to the back of the aircraft. We'll be taking pretty much all of the skin off the side of this aircraft. And you may remember when we did our walk around and we talked about how the aircraft was constructed, and we talked about the bonded skin, not the aluminum rivets, it makes things a little more challenging. Not difficult, just more challenging. Fortunately, I'm an aircraft structures technician, so this is what I do. This light here will be replaced out with the tail boom light with the LED/strobe pack, so we'll be having strobe lights in here. This cone up top here will be getting replaced with a newly painted one. We'll very likely be getting rid of we'll keep the American Grumman American signage, or we'll be putting on some Cheetah with wing signage here to really push our community. And this structural repair is all happening because there should be, right here, a tail tie-down hook right in that hole. The problem is that when we were looking at it, we realized that there is some structural repair damage in there. Not unsafe to fly the aircraft, but just enough that we could not tie the tail down. So we need to get that fixed. While we're in there, we'll be doing some other work to get some other electronics installed, and then we go from there. On this side of the aircraft, we'll do some more general maintenance. And if you look here, you see how this step is nice and straight. That's what we need for the difference. And while that looks like not too much on the exterior of the aircraft, trust me, from a mechanic's perspective, that is a lot of work. And that's okay. That's what airplanes are meant to do. They're meant to get fixed and then give someone a lot of money. But it's all in the love of this aircraft. But here's the thing, we're still not done. We still have so much to do. And I can't wait to show you that, because these are the things people are gonna see. The structural repairs, that's kind of like when you're doing work in your house and then you put drywall over it and no one knows it, but you know you did a lot of work. That's what that is. The engine's kind of the same for us. Everyone knows it's a new engine, but we're not looking at it all the time. And it doesn't look cool, it doesn't look fancy. But the stuff that we'll be installing into the aircraft and what we'll be doing for the cockpit panel and the instrumentation is going to blow people's minds away. It is going to give this aircraft, which is already fairly technologically advanced, an edge that's going to make us just amazing. It's going to put the Cheetah with Wings community out there and make it so that everyone loves this airframe. So why don't we get inside this aircraft and go have a look.